Good morning, good morning, good morning. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and you are breathing. Today is Monday, November the 20th, 2023. My name is Stephen Carnegie. Welcome to This Is Just a Thought. Today's word of the day, trepidation, which means a feeling of fear that causes hesitation. Trepidation. Hope everyone is enjoying their Monday, the beginning of the work week, and for most of us, it will be short. Thanksgiving is Thursday. Hey, there's a lot to be thankful for this year, I know, for many of us. So, hey, if you're like me, you gotta take time to be thankful. Hey, before we go any further, I want you all to hit that like and subscribe button if you're a new listener, or if you're a returning listener and you haven't hit that bell yet to get notified when I drop these podcasts. Please feel free to go ahead and do so. But once again, hit that like and subscribe button so you can get notified along with that bell when I drop these podcasts. Hey, it is, the weather here in North Carolina, man, Saturday was beautiful in the 70s. But we've dropped back down into the 50s and 60s. Look like we want to get some rain tomorrow with some high winds also. So, hey, the fall is here. The fall is here. Thursday, Thanksgiving is going to be pretty pleasant. I believe it says it's going to be in the 50s, somewhere around the 60s. But the rain returns Friday into the weekend. So hey, at least we'll have 1 or 2 good days of some pretty good temperatures here. It is seasonably pleasant, if I can say that, 50s or 60s. Man, but Saturday, it was beautiful. Sun was shining. We got up into the 70s. It just felt so lovely outside. Might just be the last of the good weather for a while. Till about, March or April, somewhere around there, if we're lucky. Maybe temperatures will jump back up. But, hey, I'm not going to complain. It could be a whole lot worse in comparison to other places here in this great country we live in. Just good. All right, let's move along here. Man, let's talk about it. Some Sunday football. Once again, a lot of great games are on. And, hey, a lot of teams this deep in the season, they're playoff bound. And hey, there's some wild cards out there that are looking pretty good also. So, it is that time of the season when things start ramping up and they start to play a whole lot harder. But let's start it out with a game last night. The Buffalo Bills, they defeated the Jets after the Bills lost last week, but they defeated the Jets 32-6. That ain't really saying too much. Jets, boy. Wow, what is going on with the Jets? Certainly, Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and that went their season. There's talk of Aaron Rodgers quite possibly coming back, but I don't know how. I just don't. But we'll see what happens with that. And, of course, the Minnesota Vikings. They were defeated by the Denver Broncos. Mr. Magic Man himself, Russell Wilson, strikes again, 21-20. Just odd. If you've been watching the Broncos this season, you got to say to yourself, at one point in time, I know I thought about, they're washed up. It's a wrap. But old Russell Wilson, Mr. Magic Man, he's got them back in the hunt. I believe they're fighting for a wild card. Hey, when you're good, you're good. I guess he's doing all right. He's still struggling. He has to pretty much fight the whole game to get a win, hold on to a lead. And then they'll let it go. Another team come back, and then they'll come. It's like an up and down seesaw. It's like watching an old tennis match. Never know which way it's going to end. And the Cleveland Browns they defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 13-10. Nothing much to brag about there. Just isn't. And the Dolphins, they continue their winning ways. Hey, 20-13 over the Raiders. Pretty good game, I gather. It wasn't on in my neck of the woods, but it still was a pretty good game. Chicago Bears. Why hasn't anyone been fired yet? Get in that comment section and let me know. Why hasn't anyone been fired in that Bears organization. Starting with the coaching staff, the front office, everybody needs to be let go. They were defeated by the Detroit Lions 31-26. Hey, the Lions are that squad. They are the top of that NFC North. Just are. And the Packers, hey, they beat the Chargers 23-20. With the Vikings losing in that NFC North, I'm a big NFC North fan. I'm a Bears fan. And with the Packers winning, I'm wondering, did that mean the Packers now move up because the Vikings have lost? So it could be a tie for second place in that NFC North. We know who's dead last. Chicago Bears. Well, you guys, y'all look horrible. Y'all just do. I mean, you had the lead, you had the game won, and you just let it go. Just did. But hey, like I said previous times about the Detroit Lions, they are that squad. They are put together, and they put in the work. And they're not a bunch of prima donnas. They're just a squad that fights to the bitter end, no matter what. And it showed yesterday, because like I said, the Bears won the game. It was a wrap. It was done. These fools just let it go. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they put a hurting on the Houston Titans, 34-14. And last game I'm going to talk about here. You know where I'm going. Well, the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Carolina Panthers 33-10, and I guess the MVP hunt is still on for old Dak Prescott because he looked good yesterday. He's firing on all cylinders now, folks. I guess he got tired of people talking trash about him and questioning him. Like I said, if you're, you know anybody that's a Cowboys fan, those Cowboy faithfuls, they're saying, yeah, this is our year. We're Super Bowl bound, baby. You guys ain't going to the Super Bowl, man. And they're saying Dak is the MVP. Screw all the rest of the quarterbacks that have been doing it all season long. He's back in stride. He's hitting on all cylinders. He is the MVP of the NFL. Nope. We all know what's coming. We watch this every year. And, with them defeating the Carolina Panthers, I got to be quite honest with you. The Carolina Panthers ain't won but one game this year. And they ain't looking so tough either way it goes. So all of this talk about Dak being MVP and the Cowboys on their way to the Super Bowl, we all know how it goes down. The infamous, and I do mean infamous, skid and flop is a-coming. Give them time, folks. Give them time. They still got to play San Fran again, I believe. You got to play Green Bay. I ain't saying Green Bay is the best team there is, but hey, still got to go back through them. It's a lot more teams. I believe they play the Commanders Thanksgiving Day. You guys go in there slipping. I ain't saying the Commanders are that squad. If they could ever figure it out, get their heads out of there, you know what? It's open season. They're going to hurt somebody. They're going to hurt some feelings. They are that squad. So I hope the Cowboys don't go in there Thursday and get their feelings hurt, because those Cowboy fans are going to be hurting. Let's just wait and see. All right, let's keep on here. Let's go to some college football, because an interesting story has come out of Michigan. Michigan head football coach Harbaugh, has been suspended for the remainder of the season. The last 3 games of the season, he's out of there over a sign scandal. It appears that it's still not clear if he said, or the Michigan organization or some overzealous coach, assistant coach somewhere down the line. He was going to these opposing teams' games, buying tickets. He was filming them. He was watching their signals and play calling. So they're calling this the signal scandal. So this overzealous Michigan Wolverine coaching staff member bought some games to some opposing teams, videotaped them, recorded their play calling, their signaling, their offensive and defensive schemes. And he's out of there, and Jim Harbaugh is, I guess he's fighting for his job because the decision is still up in the air whether he's going to stay. That suspension, it came down from the Big Ten. The Big Ten said, no way, no how. What has happened here, it goes against any and everything that we stand for in college athletics, whether we're in the Big Ten or not. You compromise the integrity of competition. Just wow. Now, the Big Ten goes on to say that it's a violation of their sportsmanship policy by conducting an impermissible and pursing scouting operation over multiple years. So apparently these fools, they've been doing this for a while. Did it help them out? Well, Michigan is undefeated this year. And Saturday, I got to say, I watched them play Maryland, and they struggled for a while, but they pulled it out. They are a good squad, and they always have been last year, this year, year before that. They just have. And they're saying, will this not only take their image, but if a heftier punishment comes down, they might just suspend the whole season. Because the NCAA still has to weigh in. They're still doing their investigation. We'll see what happens. Not too sure why that coach would go and do that. I mean, of all things for you to do, you go and you record the other teams, the opposing team while they're playing. I guess it gave you a one-up whenever you played these guys, and it shows. So maybe Michigan ain't that good. I ain't going to say that. Come on now. They got some true ball players on that squad. Whether that coaching staff or Jim Harbaugh was cheating or not, they still got some pretty good ball players. And you can tell they fighting to the bitter end. Like I said, they struggled against Maryland. Maryland hung in there. I got to say, they did. They just did. And it was looking like Maryland was going to take it for a while, but Michigan said no way, no how. So for this coaching staff member or the whole coaching staff or whatever, or if the head coach knew, you guys might have just not only tanked your season, but you tanked your reputation. You tanked the university's reputation. And we all know, hey, the way the NCAA works, when they hand down these infractions or punishments, they can go for years. Certainly hate to hear that for all of those players that put in that work, that hard time studying and practicing. It might all go for naught once the NCAA has their final say in it. Because right now, this suspension is just coming from the Big Ten. And now they have 2 games left. And the last game of the season, Ohio State. Were they at Ohio State's games also? Wouldn't really be able to tell because Ohio State always puts on a good show against them. Really wouldn't be able to tell. But it does kind of make you wonder. I don't think this is an isolated incident. This probably goes on quite a bit. Who knows? Who am I to say? But we'll see what happens with this. Like I said, the NCAA still has to weigh in. And they haven't made their decision. They're still investigating. And a lawyer for of course, the coach came out and said, how could the Big Ten levy this punishment? And the NCAA hasn't even finished with their investigation yet. Easy. NCAA is the NCAA. You guys are in the Big Ten. You're a direct representation of the Big Ten. And they want to send a strong message. And they have. So we'll see what happens with these last 2 games. Certainly this Ohio State game. How will this fare? While he's under suspension, he can participate in the practicing, but he can't be at any of the games. Can't be on the phone giving recommendations or whatever, what have you. So he's just at practice and quite possibly just sitting around on game day watching the game like the rest of us. Wow. Just wow. Just wow. All right, let's move along here. Also, man, a few weeks ago, I went and I said, man, I got to buy me some jeans. It blew my mind, the price of clothing now. I know many of you are going to say, well, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. Yeah, I'll give you that. But, the price of some clothing, I'm like, man, they're just damn jeans. There's nothing spectacular. I'm not trying to put on a show. I just need a pair of jeans, a garment. But if you're thinking like me, because once I heard about this and I read this next article and I said to myself, wow, here I am griping about paying $50 or $60 for a pair of jeans. I know there are many of you out there that have it like that, that will spend much, much more. But that was my limit. That's my limit. It just is. Here I am griping about paying $50 or $60 for a pair of jeans, and inflation. And by the way, they came out with a report sometime last week and said that inflation was down. The economy is rebounding slowly but surely, because last year inflation was like 9-point-something%, and now it's down to like 3 and some change. That's a plus. That's a good thing. But I still need you guys to drop the price of some of these goods. I'm just sorry. I ain't gonna fake the funk and act like I'm balling out of control here, folks. The price of things are just outrageous to me. But there's the country of Argentina. Wow. We griped a year or so ago, and we're still griping. I'm still griping about the cost of goods and services. And with inflation, like I said, last year was at 9%. This year is at 3%. Argentina's inflation is 140%. Yeah. And if you're thinking that's bad, but man, when you hear the stories of how folks are struggling there, you may say, well, that ain't got nothing to do with the United States. Yeah, it does. That's part of the global economy, and the United States is part of that global economy also. So if their prices or their inflation is 140%, they're going to pass it on to someone. And if you say, well, Argentina ain't known for nothing, they are known for their grain. So they're in the global economy, but their citizens, their regular citizens, are struggling like all get up. Now, this article mainly dealt with the retail side of it, the price of clothing, and I found that ironic. Like I said, I went and bought those jeans, and they were like $59, and I was griping all the way to the cash register. But what has happened is, with inflation being so high, in addition to them, trying to get food or whatever, what they have noticed is with this 140% inflation is they're having a hard time clothing themselves, especially the elderly, the ones that have retired. Now, we all know the youngins, they're going to find, well, I said we, I'm not young anymore. They're going to find a way to get those name brand designer clothes no matter what. They just are. But this mainly deals with the elderly, those that are retired, and how they're having to factor all of that along with food, shelter, and now clothes, how they're having to factor all of this out and up, and it determines what they spend on clothes. Now, many have gone as far as to, of course, buy clothes secondhand, and many have gone and sold their clothes to buy new clothes. There's really nothing new. Consignment shops are, well, they're not, I don't think they call them consignment shops there. But with this inflation, the way it has been, a lot of people here in the United States, they're leaning towards that also. Can't really knock them. Like I said, when I went in there and saw the price of those jeans, I was like, wow. Oh, wow. Now, like I said, Argentina is South America's second economy as in major grains exports. So it's second as it relates to the grain export there in Argentina, in South America. And like I said, if you say it to yourself, well, that doesn't pertain to me, hey, you're in the United States. And if you know anything about economics and that global economy, like I said, these countries that are struggling and fighting like all get up to stay afloat, they're going to pass that price on to someone. With Argentina being the second number one exporter of grain. We struggle with Russia and them and with their little thing in Ukraine. We threw sanctions on them, and they shrugged it off. And now, will we have to go to Argentina to get some grain? Chances are it will. So this does affect you if you think about it. I mean, how much of these pennies can we continue to pinch? Seems like the whole economy, whether it's global or not, it's up in arms. I ain't gonna say it's anybody's game. It's a struggle. Now, with what they said also, with 2/5 of the Argentinian population living in poverty, with a looming recession, I wouldn't say looming recession, with 140% interest rate, your recession is here, buddy. It's there. It's live and kicking. That puts them front and center. And that's also front and center for their upcoming election. They held the election, by the way, this weekend. I think their incumbent's out. And they got some new blood in there. So, hey, maybe he could figure out somehow, some way to turn some things around. Because with the jeans and the garment industry, with the price so high, it's put them, they're saying that's 2 times the cost it was last year. Yeah, I can believe it. I'm not in Argentina, but 140% inflation rate, hey, you got to pass it on to someone. And they're going to pass it on to your citizens. We've been through that. We know how our little recession / inflation / interest rates, we know how that goes. They pass it on to us, so it stands as a reason. Those there are going to pass it on to those regular citizens, and they're struggling like all get up. With 2/5 of the population being in poverty, their annual inflation hit 142.7% in October. So it went over that 140. 142.7%. Man, I can't even begin to fathom. Now, the local minimum wage is, I think they said like 132,000 pesos. That's like $377 a month. So you're working at minimum wage. And we have a fight in this country also with those saying, hey, raise the minimum wage. Can you imagine working like that and only getting $377 a month? How are you going to live? Where are you living? Where's your shelter? Where's your food? If you're griping, because once I read this article, and like I said, I was griping about the jeans, the price of the jeans. Once I read this article, I said, I think I better shut my mouth. And shut my mouth right now. That old saying, there's always someone worse off than you. Yeah, there is always someone worse off than you. It's gotten so bad, for example, that one 68-year-old retiree who lives off her pension, and she has a side hustle of casually doing alterations, sewing, or whatever, what have you. She works for like 400 pesos. That's about $1 an hour. That's her side hustle. It's always someone worse off than you. It just is. And she says with that, she tries to buy clothes and food or whatever, what have you. Yeah, she's a retiree. She lives off her pension, and her side hustle is to go and do some sewing at some of these factories or garment district or just for people around the community. And that equates to about $1 an hour. Wow. So along with that $1 an hour and that $377 per month you're working for, do I have any room to gripe? Yep. It's my God-given right to gripe. But I ain't going to gripe that much no more. After reading that article, it just threw me to the floor. I was like, wow, I'm sitting here griping about paying $59 for a pair of jeans, and folks are out here, they're living below poverty. Like I said, Argentina, its economy, its main economy resource is exporting grain. In fact, so it's the second leading country in South America. But man, they're struggling. They just are. It just kind of makes you think and have to acknowledge so much as it relates to us here in the United States and our way of thinking about how things are and should be. We got a fight going on with raising the minimum wage. Look at their minimum wage. It's little or nothing. we got a fight going on here with at one point in time our recession and trying to regain ourselves and regain our footings after COVID. Look at Argentina. Folks worked all their life or half their life and got a pension, and they still have to go and get another job. Many of us, many retirees, have to do the same thing here. If you're saying that doesn't pertain to me and the United States economy is so great, you see the mirrored image. Lady worked, she's 68, 70 some odd years old. She's worked and she gets a pension, a monthly pension, but it's still not enough. So she has to go out and get a job, and it only pays like $1 an hour. Maybe this economy, this recession and whatever, or what happened in inflation. After reading that article, I think it is worldwide. COVID affected so much in our daily lives, and I think we're starting to see how it really and truly has rolled, and how it's rolling not only for us here in the United States, but throughout the world. It just is. It just is. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. Like I said, they had their election this weekend. A new guy came in. Their comments out. I think many there in Argentina were trying to get rid of him anyway. Who knows? Usually with the South American countries. I'm not trying to be stereotypical or be a hard you-know-what, but there's a whole lot of corruption going on. A whole lot of money being handled or mishandled or flat out stolen. Just is. Just is. All right. Let's go get it, man. Looks like our friend, Representative George Santos, finds himself in the hot seat. If you don't know about old Representative George Santos, I'm going to try to tell a little tale about this guy. Boy, he's a hustler. He's a hustler. He just is. So he's finally, the investigation, they're still investigating. Last week it came down. They've gotten a little deeper in the investigation. So some members of the House Ethics Committee, they came out and said, hey, resign. We want you gone. We want you gone right now. Not now, but right now. You got to go. You're a disgrace. And I got to agree. Whether you're Democrat or Republican, once you hear or if you've heard what this guy is accused of and what he did and how he just flat out swindled people out of their money, and I'm not just talking about the corporate contributions, because they said he somehow, some way, he got with this person was representing him and got with some companies and two companies, and they gave like $25,000 a piece to another corporation that he was in charge of, and yada yada yada. The list goes on and on. And then the way he swindled regular everyday folks, that vet with that dog. The vet had post-traumatic stress syndrome or whatever, so he needed a dog as a companion. So he said, I'll take up the fight for you. I'll start a GoFundMe or whatever or what have you. And that vet hasn't seen not one single penny of it. It's all in old George's pockets, looks like. And now we know the story is getting clearer and clearer as to what in the world this guy was doing. Now, what has came out, the ethics committee, and now the feds, the FBI, they said that he used this money to fund his lavish lifestyle of designer clothes. Paid some credit card bills off, or paid on some credit cards, made some car payments, used the campaign funds to pay his rent for his apartment. And then, now this is where it gets sick. Disgusting. It stinks. Apparently, old Representative Santos had a GoFundMe, and he had a OnlyFans page. Why do you need an OnlyFans page? You're a congressman. What in the world? Why, what in the world you got going on in your personal life there, Representative Santos? Then if that wasn't enough, they're saying that, hey, They've discovered he used some of those funds to pay for Botox. Does have some pretty smooth skin. Good Lord. Sweet baby Jesus. It's like we all always have heard, if you're going to do it big. If you're going to rob a store, I don't know if you guys have heard this saying, but I heard it coming along. If you're going to rob a store, don't take the till, take the safe. You're going to get the same amount of time anyway. So you might as well go out like a G. God, this guy was using those funds for any and everything he could. He was funding that lavish lifestyle. Now, those within his own Republican Party, they've came out and said, yeah, he's bad for business. He has to go. Yeah, you got to go. You do. You blatantly just frauded people, and you just didn't care. You were so nonchalant and cavalier, because if you remember, when this first came out, he said, no, I ain't leaving, I ain't resigning, I ain't doing nothing, and I'm going to run for re-election again. Well, last week, when all this came about, he says, I'm not going to run for re-election, and I'm not resigning, and no, I'm just going to serve out my time, and then I'll just ride off into the sunset. But those in the Republican Party, there's already apparently there's been a committee set up to have him kicked out, and that vote failed. So it looks like he's just going to serve out his term. But the feds haven't finished with their investigation, and dare I think, since he lied to Congress about so much, and we'll get to that, I think they're going to come back around again, and they're going to boot him out. As well he should be. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, I don't care who you are. You're bad for business. You got to go. You have no morals. You have no values. You have no nothing. Everything was just about me. And then I'm kind of wondering, and I hope you understand when I say this, because once I tell you what everything he was doing, I honestly believe he's a hustler, of course. I believe he hustled his way in. He found him a way to get elected there in, I believe it's Staten Island, as a Republican. I don't think he's an actual Republican at all. I think this guy just found himself a hustle and a con, and he used it to his advantage. He said, hey, I can go to the Republican Party, get in with them, and run away and do what I want to. Because that's exactly what he did. Yeah. He used those funds to pay the rent, make car payments, buy him some flashy, fresh gear, and Botox, and had an OnlyFans page. I'm still trying to figure that out. Well, maybe there's a market for it. I mean, hey, it seems like now everyone has an OnlyFans page. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. No, I ain't gonna do that. I'm just not. Like I said, he said he won't run for re-election, and he's not going to step down. He's just going to serve out his term. The Republicans came back and said, you need to go now. They had their little vote to have him expelled, but that fell through. So when the feds, I feel safe in saying, when the feds finish doing their investigation, you're out of there, buddy. You're out, and you should be. Not only should you be out of there, you should serve some time and pay every damn one of them folks that you got that money from. I don't care if they are from the corporate world or from regular citizens from up there in Staten Island. You need to be forced to pay every single last one of them back, every penny. If it was you and I, we know our goose would be cooked. We'd have to pay all of that back, that restitution. And we'd probably do some jail time. You need to do some jail time. Maybe that'll get rid of that arrogance and that thought that everything revolves around you. Because I got to be honest with you, that's just what it sounds like. Now, like I said, we all know he got caught up. He's caught up in so many lies and misconceptions and flat out just falsehoods. The feds have come out and said that he defunded donors and lied to him about his education. Can't determine where he went to college at. Can't even determine where he went to high school at. Can't even determine if he was in Brazil or the United States. The old saying, when you tell one lie, you got to tell another. There you go, folks. So they can't tell if you were in college here in the United States or over in Brazil, if you went what high school you went to there in Brazil. No one has a record of it apparently. So you lied to your donors about your education, your work history. You lied. That is part of him lying to Congress also, because when they asked him where he worked, he said he worked at Saks, but Saks came back and said we don't have any record of him whatsoever. So you lied about your schooling, you lied about your work history, then you lied about, you said you were Jewish, but they're saying, no, you're Catholic, and then you lied about your mother. You said she was in the World Trade Center or on her way or somehow somewhere at 9/11, and now we know that she was in Brazil. So you just lied and lied and lied and lied, and well, you got to keep the lie going. Once you get started, why stop? So this liar, you just lied about so much, because like I said, with his mother, they're saying, well, no, she was in New York at one point in time, but she went back to Brazil. They have record of her being in Brazil on 9/11. So that was a lie. The feds keep charging, and they're charging with wire fraud, money laundering. That's theft of those public funds where he moved funds around. They said that, of course, he lied to Congress. Well, we know that. Now, this is how this is where the money laundering and the wire fraud comes in. And also just flat out lying to those people that were giving contributions. Because I told you he found these two companies or corporate sponsor, and they gave $25,000 apiece. So that's $50,000 he got. He instructed a Queens-based political consultant. He found someone that went along with it, and he told the gentleman or whoever to tell potential donors that their money will be used to help elect him to Congress. So these two companies gave $25,000 each apiece, and come to find out, when they did the little background, they you always follow the little money trail. When they followed the money trail, it was to an LLC operated by him, Representative Santos. And he laundered the money with that $50,000. He laundered the money into two personal accounts, and he made cash withdrawals. That's that wire fraud. Made two cash withdrawals of the personal used for personal purchases for luxury designer clothing, credit cards, payments, car payments, and payments on his personal debt. Did another bank transfer or transfers to his associates. That's your wire fraud. So the feds got you hook, line, and sinker on that money laundering and wire fraud. Now, and if that's not enough, during COVID, we all remember COVID and how folks were struggling. They were trying to stay afloat. Life was knocking them on the you-know-what. They didn't have jobs. They didn't have anything, so they had to go file for unemployment. This guy filed for unemployment. Got $24,000 in unemployment benefits while he was still working. He was still working, and he was making $120,000 a year with an investment firm down in Florida that was based out of Florida. So he lied about working at Saks, but apparently some investment firm that's based out of Florida had him employed. So he somehow, some way, he came up with this great idea and great scheme. And I swear I don't know how they didn't catch it. But hey, like I said at that time during COVID, the feds always come back around for their money. They was giving that money out like Tic Tacs. And a lot of folks, not just old Representative Santos here, now having to pay those funds back because they know now that it was a con, it was a hustle. Same way with him. So he was working, making $120,000 a year, and somehow, some way, he got $24,000 in unemployment benefits, in addition to that $50,000 for that from those two corporate contributors who weren't a part of a PAC or whatever, and he used those funds to fund his lavish lifestyle. Did it to a T. If you're going to, I guess, take notes on how to swindle folks out of their money, their hard-earned money, guess you would take notes off of Representative Santos up there in Staten Island. Oh, wow. Boy, you were making money hand over fist. You were swindling folks coming and going. Can't touch you. You need to do some time in jail. Because the two things that stood out to me, or three things that stood out to me, was, of course, this $24,000 in unemployment benefits where folks were getting their, you know what, handed to them. They couldn't feed their families, couldn't feed themselves, couldn't make rental payments. That's why the price of rent is so sky high now. And here you were working a con. You worked a con. You're a con man. You're a hustler. You're a swindler. I wouldn't call him a thief. You know, that's my thing. He's a thief. No, I wouldn't call him a thief, but he's a good hustler, a good con man, because he's conned the mess out of those folks. And apparently he conned the mess out of those voters in Staten Island also, because there's quite a few of them that are starting to voice their opinion. They want you going too, homie. Not just the Republican Party up there in Congress. A lot of those regular citizens in Staten Island, they want you out of there, and they want you out of there right now. They're fed up. The plot thickens with this guy. He just flat out took folks' money. And the arrogance, when it first broke, he flat out said, hey, I just found a way in. The arrogance of it all. Lock him up. Let him serve some time. You need to serve some time, man. You do. You just do. And how you took that vet's money. Knowing that guy, it was a veteran that had been in a war, and you know that he needed that dog, his companion. The dog ended up getting sick, so you started that GoFundMe to raise money to get the dog the veterinary care that it needed, and you pocketed it. Put it right in your pocket with the rest of the funds, or you put it right in those that personal bank accounts, and move the money around to benefit you in your lifestyle. Hustling. I wonder where he learned that. If you're saying to yourself, this is what Republicans aren't the only one to do this. All politicians do this. White, black, young, old, male, female, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian. They just haven't gotten caught. This fool got caught. That's all it is. This is their hustle. But to blatantly hustle like that, yeah, you gotta go. You gotta get out of there. Give that seat to someone else. Just go on and resign. Stop being stubborn. But the arrogance continues. Because like I said, when this first broke last year sometime, he said flat out, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I haven't done anything wrong. This is just how the game is played. Guess what? The game's up. The gig is up, homie. They're on you. Need to lock them up. Lock them up and make them pay every single last penny back to those folks that he took those monies from. Just do. Man, you lied about so much. You lied about your religion. You lied about your mother. You lied about your work history. You lied about your education. Because I believe he has supposedly went to one of these Ivy Leagues schools somewhere, or a well-known business school that just doesn't let anyone in. And that school echoed what the other, the Sachs said, hey, we don't have any record of. We've never heard of him a day in our life. So you fudge your resume. You did more than fudge it. You just straight up lied about it, because it's coming back to bite you. And you know what? Like I said, those folks up there, Staten Island, if you know anything about folks from Staten Island or New York in general, when they get wind of some corruption, boy, they are just on it. Now, he also came out, this is another little side note or side story, came out at some point in time and said someone tried to assassinate him, or he had got death threats. We can't believe you. You lied about everything else. Why would we believe that? I'm not trying to sound heartless, but you lied. You lied about so much. Yeah, you gotta go. It's time for you to go, buddy. Ain't no need of you sticking around. What, are you trying to get some more money? Maybe. But I think they're gonna, the feds are gonna quash that. They're gonna freeze those bank accounts. And if they have to come and start repossessing or taking things away, they are. Somehow, some way, the feds, like I always said, the feds always get their money. They always come back around. It looked like they've came back around on him. Couldn't happen to a nicer fellow. Yeah, he needs to serve some jail time. Lock him up. That's it. Lock him up. Hey, look, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go and skedaddle. And once again, hey, hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that bell so you can get notified when I drop these podcasts. Keep you in the loop. And as always, thank you for lending me your ears this morning. Continue to like, support, share, get in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the economy, the inflation, not just here, but Argentina. Could you imagine if we had went to 140%, 140+% inflation rate? If you're saying to yourself that's impossible, hey, it could happen. If we don't get a grasp of things right now, it just could. And also, hey, what do you think about Coach Harbaugh up there in Michigan? Did he do it or not? He said he's not a part of it, and that was an overzealous member of his coaching staff. Well, he certainly reaped the benefits of it there, Coach. Just did. Undefeated, the only undefeated college football team in the nation. And a stellar football program through and through every year. Is it that you didn't know or didn't want to know? You knew. I think you knew. And also, hey, get in that comment section. Let me know what you think about old Representative Santos here. Maybe I'm just one of those hard, you know what? Maybe what he did wasn't so bad. Yeah. Hey, do you think he needs to serve jail time? I do. I think he needs to serve jail time and pay those folks back. Even those two corporate sponsors. If you and I had did this, it wouldn't even be a question. We wouldn't even, it won't even be a debate. Just wouldn't. Like I said, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to skedaddle. Thank you for lending me your ears this morning. Continue to like, support, share, offer feedback. And as always, thank you for listening. My name is Stephen Cornegay for This Is Just a Thought. Amen.